Alrighty, so today we are going to be working on an Illustrator tutorial on how to make a logo. First thing you're going to want to do is open up your Illustrator. I'm going to be working on a Mac today. Alright, so first thing we want to do is once you have this open, and again we are working in the latest version, which is 2021. Okay, so we are going to just go down to Create New to start. So as you can see, we have recent, saved, mobile, web, print, and so forth. So something just to point out. So we're going to be doing print today. We could do mobile. Doesn't super matter. So once we have our letter, then we are going to go down to units, and we're going to do inches. Now, if you're coming out of the UK or well, anywhere that's not the US, totally fine to work in millimeters if that's easier for you to understand. Pixels, points, you could work in those. I prefer not to. And picas, I never use. All right, so we have inches, and we're going to be working 8.5 by 11. You could do landscape, but we're just going to stick with portrait for today. We only need one artboard. For bleeds, we don't need to use bleeds when we're working in Illustrator, at least for this project. Bleeds more like a cut line, so it would help if a print shop was going to be cutting out different like instruction manuals or invitations. It would just help so that you wouldn't have any white around the edges. That's what bleed lines are for, but we're not worrying about that today. As you can see with print right here for color mode, we have C, M, Y, and K color. So the difference between that and RGB is this is going to be the color that you see when you print. So it's the cyan and the other colors that printers can create, versus RGB is the ones that work digitally. So our computers let out a lot more light through their screen, so they're able to have more vibrant colors. So we're going to be working, not working in RGB because the colors will just look more vibrant otherwise. And so we don't want to set ourselves up for disappointment in case you're going to be printing this out for a portfolio or anything like that. So we'll just stick with that. Raster effect will stay with high, and just leave preview mode as default. All right, so we create. So it's going to take a second. The bubble of death. We'll see how this goes. Oh, okay. Here we go. So, as you can see, we have our nice white scape. So I am working on a Mac, like I said. So if you are working with something that has a pad, you can easily just zoom in, zoom out. I'm actually working with a Mac mouse. So we can use our zoom tool. So we have H for hand if you're trying to drag around. And if you right click, you can see the zoom tool Z to zoom in. And you can extend that out if you want. These you can even add over here to your toolboard, but I don't want to, so we'll just let's see, right click. There you go, delete it. Okay, so the first thing that we should probably do actually is going to be go to Windows and workspace. So I like to do Essentials Classic. That's just my preferred method. So if you get your screen to look just like mine, that's what you are going to want to do. All right, so you'll be able to see all your color palettes, stroke fill, all of that. And this is looking a lot more like I like it to look. All right, and to zoom in out, another trick is if you hold this down, if you go like push forward, zoom in, and if you click again, you can zoom out. And then again, H for hand to pan, and Z for zoom. And now if you ever get lost in the space and you're like, oh my gosh, I am so zoomed in, zoomed out, you can go up to View, and then fill artboard to window. And boom, you're at it again. Okay, so another key command to know that's important is selection tool. So this is kind of going to be your selection, but it's also your deselection. So say you are working with a rectangle. So you have your rectangle here and you want to like, oh, I want to, you have a couple rectangles. You're like, okay, I want to select it. And it's like, wait, you're making another rectangle? To save yourself from doing that, you hit V and then you deselect. So now you're in the selection tool. That'll save you a lot of time. Escape does not work. And so we can take these, and just like a lot of other programs like AutoCAD, if you click and pull, you can select multiple items and delete. All right, so another tool I never really use the direct selection tool very often. That's more of an advanced tool. If we go down the pen tool, that's going to be P. We're actually going to be using that today. Text is T, and then rectangle is M. Again, if you right click, you can see more options. So ellipse tool, which is L, which doesn't make necessarily sense, but you can go up, down, move around, get the ellipse. But if you hold shift, it'll lock it, and then you can get that perfect circle. All right. And then we have our erase tool, and so on and so forth. But we're just going to be using some of the basics. All right. So now that we know a couple of our tools, what we're actually going to go over and look at a couple color options. So first we'll see our properties here. So our properties is what we're selecting. So right now we just have artboard. We don't have anything on it. So it's just going to give us documents working in inches, your artboard, ruler, grid. So it's just giving you the basics. Now if we put a shape on here, so like this square, for example, and I V and then I select this shape, it's going to give me options for the rectangle because that's what properties I'm on. So from within here, I could change the size. Then we have opacity, stroke, and fill. So your stroke, as you can see, is going to be this border right here, and then the fill is what's within it. So if we click on this, it'll give us our little swatches, which is the same as if you click up here, and if we click on here, it's the same as if we were to click up here. So it's just a little quick tool. So we are going to look here. So we're going to, if we did none, it would be empty. Obviously, it's a little bit hard to see. There we go. Now I got selected. It's clear. Now the problem I had, why I had a problem selecting it, is there's nothing in it. Now if we put a fill in it, now it has something to grab onto. Okay. So for this tutorial, we are actually not going to be using a stroke for the outside of any of the shapes. So we're going to do none. And now we can see it's just a nice little white box there. So Illustrator comes with a lot of colors. There's like a million colors in here. And so as you can see, there's like a ton of colors, a bunch of options you can go through. But I actually like to use this other program, Color Scheme, or Scheme Color. And I really like this website because it has so many different colors. And I'll show you an example. So you can literally pick, like there's skin tones, all these other ones. You can pick from here. You go up to the menu, brand and logos, monochrome, a ton of awesome options. So if I have some colors pre-selected because I know I want to use them for this tutorial, and we have, I picked white coffee. Now the awesome thing about this is, so it'll have your color name, your hex color, your RGB, your CM, YK. Now hex, I know if any of you have used Canva before or websites like that, it works in hex code. So use that, and if you ever need this color for a portfolio, anything, you can also download color. We also have color tints, so it'll have different tints of the same color, tones, and shades. So it's a really awesome resource. So I know we want to use white coffee. So I love to copy and paste things, so I will be doing that here a lot. So I just copy the name. So we're going to go down, we hit our fill again. Again, you can access this by going to swatches, and we're going to create a color. So, oops. All right, so we have white coffee. Leave it as process color. And so right now it's in CMYK. So it has percentages. So this can be a little bit daunting to enter. So what I'll actually do is I'll go to RGB just to make the color because it's a lot quicker. All right, so we have 233. 233, ooh, got a little crazy there. 233, 220, and let's see, 212 or 211. All right, so, and we'll just do add to my library. All right, so then hit OK, and there's our color. All right, and so if we hold down the Shift key, oh, sorry, not the Shift key. If you select it, hold down Options, and then click down again, we can drag over here and duplicate it. All right, so let's make one more color. We are going to add one more color, and this one is going to be dark sky blue. I believe that's what it's called. Let's see. Dark sky blue, perfect. All right, so for this one, we have 139. Sorry if I make you guys a little dizzy doing this. All right, so 139. Ooh. 139. Let's try that again. 182. And 104. I think that's what it was. Definitely not 104. 204. Perfect. And now we have, I'll add this to my library. Perfect. We have two exact colors that we want to work with. Okay, perfect. So we have those. So actually, since we're using those are two main colors, we can just save these little swatches over here. And then if we ever need to copy them, we can use the eyedropper tool to select them. A little hack from a graphic designer, I know. Okay, so let's get started. So we are going to right click and we're going to do the rounded rectangle tool. And to first start this, we are going to add the back of our chair. So let's make this, that looks, I'll do like that. Okay, so I'm not going to use exact measurements. It's about 2 inches by 2 inches that I'm working for, but it's more the idea and the look of something versus the exact measurements. Because in life, if we want to make something or we sketch something, we're not going to know the exact measurements of it. It's a little bit of creativity. So you will notice, to make a point real quick, you will notice that it's automatically blue. So the last color you use, that's the last color that this is going to automatically make shapes and whatnot. So we have this. So you can see the corners are already rounded. So say we don't like the way the corners are rounded, or we're like, oh, we're not rounded enough. We can actually go up to shape, and in there we can adjust. So say like, that looks a little bit better. Oh, it's not enough. We can change it, and I like that. That looks good for me. Okay, so we are going to select that tool again, and let's make some arms for this. So we're just going to pull down, and that looks good right about there. All right, so personally, I think those look a little too rounded. So I'm actually going to make this a little bit taller. Let's make this 2 inches. Yeah, let's go with that. And so that wanted to change that, but let's keep that back to 3. So if you have this locked, this is going to change, locked is going to keep them at the same dimension, and unlock is going to do that. So let's do 0.125. Yeah, that looks good. So V, go down. You'll make it a little shorter. Okay, so we're going to hold Options to duplicate its little friend. Perfect. All right, and then I'm going to hold Options one more time, pull over. And as you saw before, this is going to be able, if I just pull up and down, I can make this shorter or taller, like this, or bigger this way. Command Z to undo. And again, Command, I'm not sure for PC what that, I think it's Alt, is Alt for is our same as our command. I'm not 100% certain, honestly. So you can turn, so it'll kind of lock to set angles. And so we'll do ours like that. We're going to pull it down and pull this over. Perfect. Hit V. All right. So they're all kind of blending in as one right now. So to make our arms stand out for this, we are going to hold down our options again. Take this up, and we're going to make it just a hair bigger. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it this light color. And I'm going to transform. So this is how we change the order, because right now I want it below the other arm. So if I right click, go down to transform. Oh, not transform, arrange, sorry. Send backward. Send it backward, put it on the bottommost layer. Bring to front would bring the topmost layer, and then bring forward and backwards each go down. So I'm going to send backwards, and perfect. That's where we want it. Move that up a little bit, and then I'm just going to take this guy, and we're just going to pull it right here. Perfect. All right. Let's make him a little taller. So as you can see, I'm kind of just adjusting around. I do this a lot, just kind of getting the exact look you want. Okay. Then we are going to add the seat. So we're going to grab our rounded tool again, and we're just going to stretch up to about here. Okay, so we're going to go to shape, and we're going to edit this shape a little bit. So we are going to unlock these. We're going to turn these to nothing, and then we're going to round these just a little bit more. Let's see, what do we want to do? 0.375? Let's do 30. That seems happy medium. All right, perfect. So we have that. So we are going to use the eyedropper. Remember this one right down here. We're going to hit I, and boom. So we have that. V to unselect. All right, so leave that there. And now I'm going to options to copy. We'll make 2 of these. Okay. So we're actually going to select, oh, where is she? This one. We're actually going to turn her back to blue. And then we're going to right click and then arrange, bring to front. Okay. All right. Perfect. All right, and just like that, we have the outline of a chair. Okay, so now we are going to go and make the legs. So for the legs, we're going to, I like to intersect it with this out corner. I'm going to pull down. Okay, going for a mid-century leg. Tap once. Tap the same one again. Pull over just a little bit. And now I'm going to angle out just a bit more. Perfect. So V to unselect, and there's our leg. So super, super simple. Again, just to show it again, P for pen. And then if I just pull down, kind of the angle I want, boom. Select it one more time so it doesn't use the anchor. Make the base of the foot and out. So you can go Or if you wanted a chunkier leg, you could definitely go with like that. And then V to unselect. So we have our 2 legs here. So depending on what you want to go for, I think I'm going to go for, what do I want to go for? I'm going to go for thinner leg. All right, so we're going to do the same things we've been doing. Hold options. Bring this guy right over here. Boom. So now I was like, wait, it's the wrong direction. Right click. Select it first. Then we're going to right click it. And now we actually are going to use transform. In transform, we're going to use reflect. And since we have preview on, we can see how it's going. So if we want to do it horizontally or vertically. And that's exactly what we want. So we hit OK. And there we go. I think we did it in the outer one. So this was just guidelines. It'll give you, let's do that. Perfect. So that's lined up. Say we want to check out a chunkier leg. We could do that. I like the skinnier leg. All right, so we'll stay with that. And then just select and then delete. So we could leave these brown. So from a visual aspect, just this, that would look great. But what we're going to do is we're going to select both of them, the eyedropper, and we're going to make them blue. And you'll see why in just a second, why we are going to be doing that. So our last step here is we are actually going to take, using another one, we're going to use the round ellipse tool or L. And I'm just going to hold shift because I know I want it to be a circle. Do that. And I'm going to take the eyedropper and we are going to make it this color. All right. So then we're going to right click, transform. Oops, sorry, arrange, send to back. And there we go. Now, if this was to be blue, it would look like that. Like that. So let's hit V again to unselect. And there's our chair. So it's letting us know that's the center, intersect. We're going to bring it down a little bit. So the last thing we need is our letter, or our type. So we want to add some text. So we're just going over this text. And when we select this, if you just click, you can start typing. And there you go. Now, if you try to hit V in here, it's going to give you an actual V. So you have to unselect and you can start a new one. So we're going to do interior, interior design. All right, so unselect, hit V. We're going to get rid of this one. So there's a couple ways you can size it. So if I were to just pull up like this, I can do it that way. I can flip it even. But if I hold shift, it's going to keep it from keeping the right orientation. So let's say this, and we're going to scale it down a little bit. All right. Another way you can size it is if you go that way there. Properties. Oh, there we are. So back to properties, and we have our characters. So you can go with a simple font, and also Illustrator has tons of fonts pre-downloaded. Let's see. A lot of different ones pre-downloaded. Okay. And say you want to know, like, actually, I know I want to do Georgia. I can do simply just like that. Now, something I like to do, which I discovered recently, is being able to find your own fonts. So, for example, I like this. I think this is really fun graphic, and it's called England. So the way I find those is actually, if you come over here, it's called dafont.com, and this is a really awesome resource for fonts. Like, you can actually find calligraphy, school, handwriting, brush, graffiti, a million different ones. Something to be important though is creative licensing. So this one right here, for example, it says free for personal use. So if you're doing this for personal use, you're going to get no money from it. Then you can use that. But there are ones that are 100% free use. Filter tool. So you can do popularity, size, medium, more options. So 100% free. So say you did want to use this for a project, perhaps you could get money from it. You can select that as an option when you are looking. So I hit that. So it's only going to show me ones that are 100% free to use, and that I can use them without giving credit or anything, and I could use them to make money off of. So this is a fancy ones. And it can be a whole other tutorial, and also you can Google it based on your computer. I only know on Macs how to add it to my computer, but you just download it. Super simple. Awesome. So that's where I got this font called England. That was just a little information tidbit, and here you go. So this is a super simple way to do a logo. Now, just to finish this up, I'm going to show you how to export. So I'm just going to delete these extra ones. I don't need these here. So I'm going to go down to File, Export, Export As. Also, it's really great, which I haven't done it yet, is to save as you go. I'm going to save to my computer. And we are just going to call this Logo Chair. Wow, look at those caps. Logo Chair. All right, and we're going to save that to desktop. All right, save. And I always just leave these as is. Okay, so back to what we were doing. We're going to go to Export, Export As. And a PNG will have the option to have no background. Now, an SVG, for example, those are two popular ones when you're working with vectors, because Illustrator is in vectors, not pixels like Photoshop. So SVG is going to be able to be vectors again. So it's not pixels at all. So you can blow this up onto a giant banner to fly across the sky if you want to use SVG. We're not going to be doing that. So PNG works really great for that. So we're just going to stick with that and export. And we're going to go high resolution, leave that, and we want to have a transparent background. So we hit OK, and it will just save to wherever you saved, which I wanted it on my desktop. And there it is. Easy peasy. And on our next tutorial, we are going to show you how to import that into InDesign. All right, thank you.